You know, there are some books of magic that are just legendary, but there's one that's said to be so powerful it can give you almost godlike abilities. But it's also so dangerous that it's been blamed for the ruin and even the death of people who tried to mess with its secrets.
And look, this isn't just some old folk tale. This is a claim from the one and only Aleister Crowley, talking about his rival, MacGregor Mathers, a founder of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Crowley straight up believed this book was what destroyed Mathers. That tells you everything you need to know about how high the stakes are here.
So, what is it about this old grimoire? What makes it so fascinating and, frankly, so terrifying to occultists, even after all these centuries? Well, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the mysterious and incredibly demanding system known as the sacred magic of Abramelin the Mage.
Okay, so to really get a handle on Abramelin, the first thing you have to understand is that this is not some spell book you can just flip through and pick out a charm you like. Oh no, it is way, way more intense than that.
See, this book isn't just a list of spells. It's a whole system of magic, a complete package. For someone who is truly disciplined and ready for it, it's believed to be completely functional. I mean, it works. But for anyone who's unprepared or who comes at it with the wrong attitude, well, the system is said to be unbelievably dangerous.
The whole story of this magical system starts with the man who wrote it all down for his son. He was a man from the 14th century named Abraham the Jew, and his entire life was basically one long, relentless search for a kind of truth he just knew had to be out there.
Imagine this. For 10 years, Abraham wandered all over Europe and the Middle East. He started at age 20, looking for real magic, but all he found were what he called extravagant experiments and a bunch of superstitions. He was totally disheartened, almost broke, when he ended up in Egypt. And there, a chance meeting with an old man pointed him out into the desert, to a wise mage named Abramelin, who had the keys to the sacred science he'd been looking for all along.
And this, right here, was the whole point of his quest. All the magic he'd seen for a decade was, to him, just fake. It was all tricks and superstitions, with no real connection to the divine. But the true sacred magic he learned from Abramelin, that was the real deal. It was the divine wisdom that he believed came straight from God, built on the foundations of the Holy Kabbalah.
So, what is this divine system exactly? Well, you can just forget everything you think you know from movies about summoning demons. The main goal here is something way more personal, way more profound.
The whole operation, the entire point of the system, is to achieve the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel. Now, this angel isn't some separate being with wings and a halo. It's more like a personification of your own higher self, that divine spark inside you, your ultimate spiritual guide. The whole point of all this magic is to make contact with that part of yourself. But, and this is a big but, getting there is not easy. It takes an incredibly demanding 6-month-long ritual of purification. For the first 2 months, you're deep into intense prayer and super clean living. For the next 2, you have to find more and more solitude, pulling away from all your regular life stuff. And the final 2 months, you're in almost total isolation, preparing your tools and your sacred space, all building up to that one moment of contact with the angel.
It's only after you've made that divine connection that the second and much more famous part of the system kicks in. Now that you're united with your higher self, you are finally ready to face the forces of darkness. Now, this is so important to understand. There are no demonic pacts in the Abramelin system. The magician doesn't bargain, doesn't beg, and they definitely don't sell their soul. No. Empowered by the authority of their holy guardian angel, they command these spirits by divine right, like a king giving an order to a subject.
And the beings they're supposed to command? Yeah, these aren't just some minor imps. The system lays out the entire org chart of the infernal realms, starting with the 4 big bosses: Lucifer, Leviathan, Satan, and Belial. Then you've got their 8 sub-princes and countless legions of servants under them, all of whom are to be bound by an oath to serve the magician.
So let's say you do it. You establish this divine authority, you get the spirits bound to you. What can you actually do? Well, this is where the claims get truly, absolutely extraordinary.
The third book of Abramelin is basically a handbook of practical magic, spelling out how to do things that seem impossible. Like, for instance, being able to fly through the air, anywhere you want to go. Or how about the power to become completely invisible? The book gives 12 different symbols for it, one for each hour of the day and night. The powers extend to the physical world, too, promising the ability to open any lock without a key and without making a single sound. and even to uncover secrets, like being able to figure out who a thief is and exactly where they hid what they stole.
But maybe the most shocking, the most startling claim in the entire book is a method to make a corpse rise up and perform actions as if it were alive for up to 7 years. An operation so difficult, it said you'd need to command the 4 great princes themselves to pull it off.
Now, all these amazing claims, these miracles, they aren't achieved through some complex ritual or chanting long incantations. The method is actually much more direct and kind of mysterious.
The key to everything, the engine behind all this power, lies in a series of really complex magic squares made of letters. The magician simply has to show the correct symbol, and the spirits, who have already sworn an oath on it, are forced to do what it says, whether that's bringing you treasure or changing how you look.
And this all brings us to the core mystery of Abramelin, a book that totally shaped modern Western occultism and is still being argued about today. Is it a literal step-by-step instruction manual for getting supernatural power? Or is the whole thing, the angel, the demons, the 6-month ordeal, just one giant, profound psychological metaphor for the journey of mastering yourself, a journey where you have to confront your own inner light and your own inner darkness to find your true power? That right there is the ultimate question.